This is the OnePlus 9 Pro. This is the Hasselblad camera set it comes with. And this is the box it comes inside of.
In the darkest hour, I wanna come for you. I know you've been.
Now, this is the box. It's pretty much the same as every year. It's a pretty sexy box, but except this year they don't have the big 9 and Pro in the top left corner in like a big bold black color. Kinda sucks, but it's okay. Then here is the phone, and it's the usual unboxing experience from OnePlus, and it looks very, very nice. I love this thing that they always wrap it around in. It makes it look really good, and it gives you a really good first impressions, and they're really, really good at giving that off. And in my opinion, they have the best unboxing experience of any phone that I've ever opened. And plus, it comes with a case. It's a very nice case. I like the quality of it. It's good. And a big thanks to them, and a lot of appreciation for them for actually including the chargers inside the box. And this is a 65-watt charger. It's not any charger. And we're going to talk about it later, because this thing is a beauty itself. And then finally, you got the usual paperwork and all of that, and they love advertising their Hasselblad collaboration, but we'll talk about that later. So this guy here, not a heavy phone, not a light phone, is coming in at 197 grams. And it feels good in the hand as per usual, and OnePlus are really, really good at nailing the premiumness of their flagships. Now, OnePlus seem to have joined the trend this year and make their phones a matte finish, which I really, really like. This color specifically is very, very good at not attracting a load of fingerprints, so that looks really good there. It's also a relatively nice color. It's no matte black though, and hopefully I'll get my hands on the matte black one soon. But either way, overall, it's a very solid phone. It's a very good looking phone. It has a really nice design. I personally love the design this year. Some things I have comments about and a bit of speculation, but it's an all-around very nice phone. You got USB-C and the usual, you got a screen on the front, and you got their whole new Hasselblad setup, which we will get into a bit later, and then that matte finish on the back. But overall, physically, it's a very, very nice, aesthetically pleasing phone. You can see that with your eyes, and you can feel it with your hands. Now, you're staring right at the display, so let me tell you a little bit about it. It is a 6.7-inch AMOLED 1440p 120Hz display, and it goes up to 1300 nits in brightness, which is pretty good. It's decent. Overall though, the specs for it are very, very nice, and in practice it is really, really nice to use. Resolution is on point. The 120Hz is so nice, and there's something called adaptive mode, which I'll tell you about later. But overall, my experience with OnePlus displays has always been really good, and this is definitely no exception. Now, we're going to have a proper look at these cameras later on in this video, but a quick kind of like look from now. First off, the images are good, right? But the image in the viewfinder are so unbelievably bad in comparison to the final processed image. It's so weird, and it's like this with OnePlus phones. I don't know why, but just so you know. And then this is the case that it came with earlier that I forgot to put on. It looks nice. It's I actually really like the material. Last year they got like a transparent case. I didn't like that. This is a very nice version of it, and it goes with the color of the phone if you're getting this color. And I like this kind of halfway blue, halfway green kind of thing. But yeah, that's the unboxing. I hope you kind of got a good idea of what to expect if you are going to be buying this phone. This is what it looks like. But anyway, first impressions, let's go. Now, from the physical aspect of things, I'm very, very, very happy to see that OnePlus are still rocking the alert slider, allowing you to physically, very quickly change from silent to vibrate to ring mode. And Apple had their alert slider, but it's not the same as this, because you got all three options here, and it's so good and it's so perfect. Every company should do it. I'm just very happy that OnePlus are doing this. I hope we don't lose it. I hope it's here to stay. But it's nice to see that on for another year. And then in terms of the actual build, I've said it before in this video, it's a good looking phone. It feels premium and it looks premium as usual. And just a bit of a comment to make is that I think they've taken a little bit of inspiration here from iPhone in terms of the design of the back. They centered the OnePlus logo this year, the same way Apple recently centered their Apple logos on the iPhone. And then in terms of the camera bump, they decided to separate the camera lens from the actual camera bump, so you can see the individual lenses very clearly, the same way Apple did that with the iPhone 11 Pro. I'm not complaining here, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a nice design and it looks really, really good. It's just a little comment I wanted to make. I feel like I do see the resemblance there, but they've done it very nicely, so good for them. Now, since it looks like we're seeing a trend of matte phones this year, this has joined the group of being a very, very slippery phone. This is included, and it's not specifically just this, it's just because it's matte, it's very slippery now. It's not as easy to grip as glossy, and you're more likely to drop it, but it's a small thing. In terms of the color options, you got the matte black option, which I'm very, very happy to see, and I'm trying to get my hands on that. But in terms of this green one, for first impressions, it does not show any fingerprints, which I was very, very interested to see. And then looking at the front from, kind of the display aspect of things, it's got the curved edges like it has last year and the year before. Me personally, I love this. I've never found it to be a functional issue in terms of accidental touches and that sort of thing. All it does for me is make the phone look better, and it can only be a pro in my book, so I'm very, very happy to see that it does that very, very well. Talking about the display, I told you I would talk about the adaptive 120Hz display, which is something they call LTPO technology, where basically, depending on what you're doing on the phone, depending on the content, it will change from 1 Hz to 120 Hz. All in order to save battery. So if you don't need to be on 120 Hz, it saves it, it takes it down, and you're saving battery that way. Yet you get the pros of a 120 Hz display. So it's a nice kind of thing there. Now, talking about the display, in the display is a in-display fingerprint, and it's all good. Something kind of quick to say is that it's weirdly low down. I think you may have noticed this. First thing is you'll get used to it. You get used to it straight away. I already am used to it because I've been using the S10 between phones that I've reviewed. So I'm really, really used to this slowdown thing. It's very, very easy to get used to. You will get used to it, so don't even think about it. But it is a little weird. I don't know why they didn't put it up higher. And then also for the display, you got the punch hole in the top. It's in the top left, which looks absolutely fine. I think it would have looked a little bit better if it was centered. But even more so, I would have loved to have seen a motorized camera, because on the OnePlus 7 Pro, they put a motorized camera, and I think it was really cool. And if they continue to do so with last year's 8 Pro and now the 9 Pro, I imagine they could have improved it and added to it, and so they would still manage to get the IP68 water and dust resistance and add many other improvements to let it suit the environments now and just work as a 2021 phone. If they'd continue to work on it, it would have been nice to see that, but whatever, this works. Not as cool though. But something that I'm really, really, really looking forward to on this phone is the charging. I've used a OnePlus phone before. I used Warpcharge 30, and it was fast. It was really fast, but it would only get you like 60% in 30 minutes, and I couldn't believe it. This year, it's 100% in 30 minutes. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I look forward to using that. They're legends for keeping the power brick in the box, and I hope they continue to do so. It's one of their trademark things. It's one of those things that really, really separates OnePlus from the rest in a very strong, non-gimmicky way. So it's nice to see that here, and it's nice to see that they keep improving it. And to explain Warpcharge 65 as to how it works, basically there are 2 cells for the battery inside the phone, and they add up to the 4500 mAh battery that's inside of it, and they charge in parallel. So therefore, they charge faster, yet they still manage to keep a relatively large battery. And that's kind of how it works. It's very simple, yet I don't know why other companies don't do it. It's smart, simple, easy, and it's super effective. And I'll tell you about my experience with it in my review. Now, I told you guys at the beginning of this video that I would get into the cameras, and that is what I will do. So first off, in the software side of things, everybody knows about this Hasselblad collaboration that OnePlus are doing with Hasselblad. And it shows in the software. They have a new shutter and a sound when you click the shutter. It's like an orange shutter now, and it has a cool sound. So that's just, it's kind of cool stuff there. And in terms of the camera app, it's very easy to change the specs of your video, like the frame rate, the resolution, the aspect ratio, right from the top of the camera app very, very quickly. Very nice to see that there. I like the way they dealt with that. And then something finally I want to say is that the image, I said this before, but the image in the viewfinder, which is the live image you're seeing while you're taking a picture, looks so bad, mainly on the ultra wide, when you're taking a picture in comparison to what the actual final processed image will look like. It looks so unbelievably bad on the viewfinder. I don't know why. I've seen this on OnePlus phones before. I don't understand it. But then, for the cameras themselves, you have 3 cameras and a depth sensor. You got a 48 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel 3.3 times optical zoom camera. Interesting. And then you have a 50 megapixel ultra wide with dual pixel autofocus, which is very nice to see. So now this year with the ultra wide, it's much more equal in quality to the main sensor, which I think is really good to see. It's a much larger sensor, and apparently OnePlus are saying it has an edge distortion of 1% in comparison to an edge distortion of about 10% that you'll find with most other brands on other phones. You know, that's what they're saying there, so I don't know how true that is, but it's nice to know. And from the use with it, you can record 8K with the ultra wide along with the main, which is very cool to see, so you're getting that extra angle. And the 8K, by the way, on this phone is about 1,000 times better than the 8K on Samsung. They don't crop in. The stabilization looks so good on the 8K, and it also looks so good on the rest of the video as well. You're getting 4K at 120 frames, which is super cool. And they seem to have really killed it with this ultra wide. But, you know, this is just first impressions. This is what I've seen so far in my first 2 days of using it. So just, you know, you can look at the videos for yourself. But I will have a lot more samples and images and videos to show you in the review. So stay tuned for that. So that's the cameras. But overall, my question is, because it's priced as a low-end flagship at around £830, will it just be a low-end flagship, or will it be a high-end flagship at the price of a low-end flagship? That's the question that I have, because I'm liking the pricing here. I think it's very reasonable, and it's gonna go down tremendously, by the way. Androids always do, so that's always something to keep your eyes out for. And OnePlus make very good flagships, so let's just see how it runs out, and I'll tell you about my experience in the review and my final thoughts, because, you know, these were just first impressions. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a like and comment for the algorithm. Check out my Instagram at the El-Naggar for a behind the scenes perspective, and you know, you get to know everything that's coming out on the channel. Everything goes up there first, and you get this extra look into what's going on. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Salam.